Hey guys, welcome back to hemorrdroids.net. Andy here. Give you a look over of the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. We've done the full, well, Raju's done the full written review on the website. I highly recommend you go and take a look at that because he's done a great job. I'm just giving you guys that like the videos a bit of a look around myself as well, highlighting some of the points of the phone. Obviously Google produced the Nexus devices pretty much yearly, so I think it was January 2009 they brought out the Nexus 1, which is, at the time, was quite revolutionary really. The first gigahertz processor device, etc. Then the Nexus S came out last year, not really quite so revolutionary. It brought gingerbread with it, which was obviously a reasonable step up. Hardware wise, it was nothing amazing really, probably struggled to beat the Desire HD at the time. And now we have the Samsung Galaxy Nexus, which a lot of people would say, again, hardware wise, it doesn't really blow anything away. The Galaxy S2, which has been out for 6 months or so, possibly better hardware device, but obviously the Galaxy Nexus brings with it ice cream sandwich. I have recently done a head-to-head against the Note, for example, which you could argue is the best hardware spec device on the market, just to see how the Nexus and ICS match up with it. And well, go and have a look at the video. You might be surprised. It's a very close thing. Anyway, we're here to look at the Nexus. I think the first thing you notice is just, I think it's a gorgeous design. As the Nexus S was gorgeous, they've done a fantastic job with the Galaxy Nexus. I just think it's gorgeous. So for me, it's a cross between the Nexus S and the Galaxy S2 really. So it's quite a big device, but it's reasonably thin. It's a little bit heavier than the S2 at 130 something grams, but it doesn't feel heavy by any means. A lot of people would prefer it. It says it feels a bit more solid, and I think it does. It doesn't feel quite as plasticky as the S2 did. Not that that was an issue for me. I loved the light design of the S2, but it is a gorgeous design. Instead of the sort of plastic, it is still plasticky. Just to give you a bit of a glimpse, so it's still the same sort of plasticky back that's been on a few of the Samsung phones these days, which again I have no problem with, but it's got a slight rubbery feel to it, which rather than plastic. It is only slight, but I think it gives it a slight bit better of grip. Nothing else new. There's the volume rocker on the one side, the power on the other side. Those are for the dock. There are on the horizon in the next few weeks. The docks have been sort of given to suppliers, I believe, and we'll be able to buy them soon, the official docks. The headphone jack is on the bottom. It's not really an issue. Some people have moaned about that. I actually quite like it there. When you get used to it, it's better to have all the cables in one way. You drop it into your pocket that way and comes out your pocket that way usually, so it makes kind of sense that the earphone's coming out that side. Gorgeous screen. Front-facing camera, as you would expect. No physical buttons or even capacitive buttons because they're all built into ice cream sandwich. One thing, and you probably can't see it, I wouldn't think, on the video unless it was actually activated, there's a small LED at the bottom. I kind of feel Google have listened and they've looked at sort of other things and listened to people, and people said they missed the notifications from the Google Nexus 1. So they brought them back on the Galaxy Nexus, and if you have an email or a text, it will flash. You can buy applications which will change the colour, so you can have, for example, mine flashes red when there's an email, yellow if it's a missed call. I don't know, you set up a whole, however you want it basically. So the actual design of the device, I think, is just spot on basically. It's really, really nice looking device. Then we get to the design of the software. And again, I think they've done an amazing job. I think it looks fantastic. It's all very sleek and very smooth, and it's now much more uniform. So you see at the top kind of how your selections are. If we look at that, and then we look at the YouTube app, for example. And although it changes the colours, which I think is fair enough, YouTube is a sort of white predominantly, you still get the same kind of design along the top. Same as if you go into the People app, you get that same kind of design. Again, it's different sort of colours, And I was a bit surprised it's so, actually it is a similar sort of colour to that there, I guess. I was going to say it seemed a bit too bright in some ways, but it is the same tone of blue. What other Google apps are there? I mean, like I say, generally they just all sort of fit into, I suppose, if we look at the calendar, we've got the widgets here, which are similar sort of design as well. You go into the calendar, it's all a similar kind of design. We can change the view style. So I mean, this is all quite nice as well. You can zoom in and out and all that sort of thing. It's all very nice. I mean, you might be able to tell as well how smooth it is as it's scrolling around. Fantastic. If we stick with hardware for a little while, we'll talk about the camera, because that was quite a talking point when the device was announced, that it's only a 5 megapixel camera. A lot of people got quite upset. Oh, it's only 5 megapixels. The SGS2 has 8 megapixels, and I was trying my hardest to defend it. You know, it's not about megapixels; it's about the quality of the sensor. And I have to admit, I think the S2 probably does have a slightly better camera, but at the same time, the Galaxy Nexus, it's still a great camera. It performs fantastic. I've used it. I've been on holiday to California last week or two, and I took some great pictures with this camera. Especially in the darker conditions, it copes very well. And one of the things I love is just sort of the actual software is much better. The interface and zero shutter lag is fantastic. I mean, if you haven't seen it, even with, well, it's a bit harder with the flash. If we turn the flash off, you'll be able to see. You know, I mean, you can just take crazy amounts of picture. All you have to do is wait for it to autofocus. There. So, I mean, that took a couple of seconds that time because it was quite up. It was a macro shot. So you wait for it to autofocus, bang, and now you can snap away. But you know, no camera's got instant. Well, apart from these new Lytro ones, perhaps when they finally come out. But no camera's got sort of an instant hit it and off you go. Every camera has to focus. But you know, I think just generally the software is fantastic. I loved, again, while I was away, I've loved the panoramic ability. So basically, you start, you rotate. If you watch the bar along the bottom, it should start. Oh, it's not. That's useful, isn't it? I don't know why it's not doing it. Maybe it's because I'm trying to do it in as too confined a space and you have to sweep it more. But basically what you should see is the bar along the bottom fills across, and when you hit the sort of completion button, it stops and builds the image for you. And again, I took some pretty fantastic panoramic images using that. The only thing to be aware of, it lowers the pixel count quite heavily, so when you get this big long sweeping panoramic, it's only, well, I can't remember exactly, but somewhere between 600 and 900 pixels in height, whereas your regular 5 megapixel shot is going to be, oh, I can't even remember, maybe up to 2000. But so the panoramic one, it does, I mean, you can see it's a smaller box inside there. It does thin out the image so that it's got more to work with when it's patching it all together. There is a front-facing camera you can use, of course. I won't do it because I got bed hair still. We get effects in here as well, and I've got to be honest, I've not really played with them so much, so I'm not the best person to be showing you how it works. Some of them can be applied afterwards, but I believe as well some can be applied while you're doing it. Edit, there we go. Photo Studio. You got all the different effects that you can see along the bottom there that you can apply to them very easily. You can crop it. So there's a lot more. There we go. There's a lot of. This is all built into Ice Cream Sandwich, which is very nice. Save edited photo. No. So just generally the actual software. The camera, no, it probably isn't quite as good as the Galaxy S2, but the overall experience, I've much preferred using that camera to the S2 camera. So, you know, and also the front-facing camera, as well as we can film 1080p using the backside camera. You can actually film 720p using the front-facing camera, which is quite a nice touch. What else have we got? So NFC is another thing that's kind of part of the hardware that's built in. You've probably seen demos already if you have someone else that happens to have a Galaxy Nexus, or obviously going forward just any phone with NFC and ice cream sandwich. You can do all fun things like just touch them together. If you're browsing a map and you say, yeah, it's here, look, and you just tap the screen and it sends it instantly to the other person's phone. If you're on a person's contact, you go, yeah, here you go, and it sends it instantly. It's very, I think a lot of people think it's a gimmick. I think it'd be really useful it's maybe a gimmick now because no one else has it, but once other phones have this ability, I think it could be really handy. You're sat there in the pub talking to your mates and you want to just, oh yeah, no, here you go, here it is, boom. So much easier. What's your email address? Or shall I Bluetooth? Let's compare it. No, boom, job done. Oops, almost dropped it. And apparently more functionality will come with Android 4.1 to the NFC. The ability perhaps to write tags rather than just, I think maybe at the moment you can only read information. You'll be able to write information to tags as well. So, and the final thing as far as hardware, I suppose, is the screen itself. 720p, so it's well, I don't know. You can see just the detail if the camera can focus on there. Maybe if I can get some text up. What do I need? I'm on the wrong one. Yeah, 1200 by 720 the screen. So the pixel density is about 315, I think. I don't know how well you can see, but the clarity there I think is pretty amazing. It's not quite the same as the iPhones. So the iPhone's about 325 perhaps. The Galaxy Note is a touch under 300, I think. So, but 315 is second best on the market, I believe. And on the size of screen, 4.65 inch screen compared to the iPhone small screen, I think that's pretty amazing technology. So at the moment, obviously, you see the keys along the bottom are part of the sort of pixels used on the screen. But when you go into, if you watch a YouTube video or any video, I think that the software allows it to, I suppose, really. You will see, and hopefully we'll be able to see here. If we, and again, we're just watching at this point the buttons there.
I told her I'm not paying for your abortion. We could use that money to go to Six Flags.
So you see how the buttons have vanished?
What's up, guys? I didn't see you standing there. So this first video
and now I raise the whole thing. If I touch the screen, they come back in. Everything comes back in.
Decided to wait until they get
there it goes. So it's literally using the whole screen. I mean, look at that. I think that's awesome. So, fantastic screen, I think. A lot of people have said what a great screen they think it is. I've seen a lot of people saying actually this is better than the iPhone 4S screen. I suppose it's subjective in many ways, it's up to you, but I think it's an amazing screen. So then we have ice cream sandwich itself, I suppose. That is the big differentiator here. If this came with gingerbread, would I be interested in it? I probably would, just because it's a gorgeous design, but it's not really any step above the S2. Let's be honest, it is ice cream sandwich that makes this. And yes, ice cream sandwich will go to the S2 and it will go to the Note and to a variety of the devices, but come on, you guys know what it's like when you're waiting for updates from carriers. Samsung have already said it'll be quarter 2 for the S2 and the Note. Quarter 2, that could be as late as, June? I don't know exactly how their quarters were, but or definitely sort of May it could be. I don't want to wait that long, so that's why I plumped for the Nexus, I suppose. But ice cream sandwich, I've shown you some of the apps already. One of the things I've used now that I never really used on previous versions of Android is the app switcher. It's nice and smooth. It's there all the time. You don't have to hold a key down. You literally just press it. So when you're in one app, it is very easy to switch over to another app. The only disappointment, I suppose, I thought, in demos we saw how people just swipe things away. If you don't want them, you just close them, and they swiped them away, which again is very smooth, it's great, it's fantastic, but it doesn't actually close that app, it doesn't stop it running in any way, it does just remove it from your task switching options, which is still handy. If there's loads of apps that actually I don't need to use that again, but what I did find when I was on holiday, definitely, sometimes to bring the camera up, especially if I was in one app and I want to take a picture, I would just hit that and I would switch. I closed it already, and I would switch straight to the camera. So I've never really used it in Android before. I do use it now. Then using the settings shortcut in the notification bar, we can get to the next big or most useful addition, which is the data usage section of settings. I can set myself a mobile data limit, so if I'm on a limited plan, I can say I'm only allowed 500 meg, boom, and I can slide the thing into places where I get my warning. I can set that whenever I want. You can see as I'm sliding around, you see there's a dotted line appears, which kind of suggests, well, at the rate that you're using data, you're going to get to 540 by 30th of December or whatever. You also get to see how much data the different applications are using, which is very handy. I think there were apps that would do this for you in the past, but now it's, you know, it's baked into Ice Cream Sandwich. Fantastic. And again, when I was on holiday, Google Plus went a bit crazy, so I restricted background data. Naughty app, bad app. You're not using all my my data, so you just cut it off. Job done. You know, you get a great deal of control. I mean, I don't know if you saw, then you get a specific graph for that app, and how much of it is foreground data and how much of it is background data. You know, it's just fantastic. A lot of people perhaps won't use that. Maybe this is just for sort of the nerds or the geeks. I don't know, but I think it's a fantastic addition to the operating system. The other sort of again thing that's been possible using third-party apps, but it's great that it's now been built into the operating system. If I've got two apps, like so, and I want to have some kind of communications folder, I pick one up, I drop it on the other, and there it is. I can then name the folder. Oopsie, comms. And there we go. Again, there were apps that would do this, but it's just great that it's built into Ice Cream Sandwich, making it so easy for everybody to do. I can drop it into remove to get rid of. The other good thing from the launcher, and I don't know that I've really got anything I want to uninstall. So I either drop that onto the home screen, or at the top, look, I get either app info, or I can just uninstall it straight from. Oh, did I just do that? No, I didn't. You can uninstall it straight from the launcher, which I think is great. I mean, one of the other sort of good additions is, and it's hard to show you when I'm at a distance from the phone, but the voice recognition. I'll try really quick. Testing the voice recognition of Ice Cream Sandwich. How awesome is that? You know, I love that it works in real time as well. So I can just sit there dictating, and I could dictate out a whole massive email or whatever. In the past, it would wait for you to do like a sentence or whatever, then it would go and process it, then it'd throw it in, you have to correct. But now it's, you know, working in real time. I've never used, again, it's something else I just never used on Android before, but they've just done it just so well now. It makes it so easy for you to use. What's left? The battery, I guess, really. It's always a talking point of devices. So it's got a pretty strong battery at 750 milliamp hours, 100 more than the Galaxy S2, a lot less than the Note, but the Note's 2500. And I've used this device for long enough to be able to comment on the battery. You know, I hate when people, they get a phone with a couple of days, they start moaning, or they start saying it's not very good, or, you know, you really shouldn't talk about the battery until you've had the device for a good couple of weeks, really, which I have. And when having calibrated it on Wednesday, I was up at 6 AM. I used my phone fairly average, which for me is quite light, but taking a few photos, a few messages, checking emails all day. I got home at midnight and I had about 11 or 12 or 13 maybe % left. So, you know, that's 18 hours and it was still going. I think you can't really complain with that. 6 AM till midnight, most people will have an opportunity to charge somewhere within that time frame. So to me, that's plenty good enough. So overall, I mean, I've seen other reviewers saying this is the best Android device ever. I got to be honest, it's hard for you to argue that it's not. What doesn't it have? I mean, okay, it doesn't have an 8 megapixel camera. It doesn't have the top of the range GPU. But again, watch my Nexus versus Note challenge, and you'll see that actually the Nexus scores higher on 3D graphics than the Note did. So, you know, any shortcomings there are in the hardware have somehow been overcome by Ice Cream Sandwich. And yes, other devices get Ice Cream Sandwich, but down the road, this has it here and now. Here it is. This device as a phone is pretty awesome. The design is gorgeous, the user interface is gorgeous. The features are in depth and they work well and they're smooth. The whole experience, this is just the best experience you're going to get for an Android device right now. Full stop. Yes, it's kind of pricey if you buy it offline. You're looking over £500, but unfortunately, that's the way they've all gone now. You know, that's nothing special about the Nexus. That's the price of them all these days. Bottom line, awesome device. If you're looking to upgrade from an S2 or a Note, I've yet to see someone that's compared them both and said, actually, no, I shouldn't have changed, or, you know, no, the S2 or the Note is better. But it is a lot of money to spend. You could argue for a relatively small upgrade. If you're a patient person, you don't mind waiting 4, 5 or 6 months, then, you know, don't do it. But this is a better device in my opinion. Whether it's worth it to you, I'll leave it with you. Give us your comments below. Like I say, Raju did a fantastic write-up on the website. Please go and check that out. My name's Andy, hemorrdroids.net.